And we are back. All the hard-hitting news that you need right here. Adam, what do you got for me?
It was, what did you have for us?
I like that.
You traded Devin Singletary and a 2026 third for a 2025 third.
Just 3 days too late.
Yeah, the big question is, why did you not do this a week before?
Multiple people in this league received offers, and multiple people turned him down. And I said, okay, maybe week 10 was a fluke. Maybe. And it certainly, there were 2 flukes in a row.
Yeah, over 100 yards each game and a touchdown in each game.
Also, it was painful when I was watching it. It's like, it's the first time in his career he's done this. And I was like, why now?
Yeah, I feel like you just, again, make this trade before this week, and his 20 points don't count.
Did anything ever hit your inbox?
Yeah.
Okay, and just a quick question. How many points did you lose by? Do you know?
Couple.
What's a couple? It's a couple.
17.
Okay. So, you take away Pierre Strong's 1.5, add Singletary's 20.
Well, he had 19. I wonder if I would have won.
The point still stands. You would have won.
We'll see. I would have won.
Yeah, okay. Just
But I wanted to let you have the win. You needed it, man.
No, I didn't.
I also was not offered a third swap for Devin Singletary.
I
was offered Singletary for a third and a fourth.
Yep. What else we got for news, Adam?
I think that's about it.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, power rankings.
We are back with power rankings.
That we are.
And we have a new 12. Nope, we don't actually. He was 12 last week, and he proved it. We have James at 12.
All you had to do was take Devin Singletary. That's all you had to do.
James came out with the loss. Put up 90.88 points. Odell had a pretty good game on Thursday, I believe. 15.6 points. Hopkins found the end zone. But yeah, this team...
Started Dalvin Cook. Next team.
Yeah, they're not great. We saw James make the playoffs for 5 straight years, be one of the best teams, and now it's kind of seeming towards leaning into that rebuild.
He's giving Cherry a free Marvin. All right, next team.
Next team, number 11, Matt. Matt only put up 84 points last week.
You're doing this to me on purpose. You're doing this to me on purpose.
Matt only put up 84 points. That was with Brian Robinson catching the ball 7 times for 58 yards. Like, he just became a receiving back. James Cook found the end zone, had a pretty good game. Both his running backs combined for about 40 points. Garrett Wilson did put up 0, only had 2 catches for 9 yards and a fumble. The rest of the team was not great, but we should see a bigger role for Zach Sharps going forward, with Walker likely to miss time. The only thing is his upcoming teams he's facing are the 49ers, Dallas, the 49ers, and the Eagles. So yeah, he gets his opportunity against some of the best defenses in the league. So that's
something.
A little disappointing. And then at number 10, highest I think you might have been all year.
Yep.
Ryan.
What was I preseason?
9.
Yeah, no, it's not the
No,
highest.
that was, yeah. Highest since the season started.
Yep.
That was like the way too early one. I think we did them like right after the draft. That maybe never even got posted.
I don't remember. There was definitely a preseason power rankings.
But yeah, 10 eyes you've been since the season started. I'm sure you're thrilled about that.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts, 2 rushing touchdowns. Didn't really get it going through the air, but...
Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns. I would like the NFL to go make a stat correction. Devonta Smith actually got in the end zone that play.
And you only win by 2.
And also, James didn't start Dalvin Cook. He started Nelson Aguilar instead at running back. We make Nelson Aguilar running back eligible.
But yeah, Singletary, who you did trade, another 100-yard game with a touchdown. Zay did fine. Gabe, another 0. That's 2 zeros in the past 3 weeks. He's very due for a blow-up game. Christian Watson found the end zone for the first time since week 1. Only still a little tough, but then Rondell Moore had a huge 1-catch, 48-yard touchdown.
Could have gone without that, too.
Yeah, not your best time to have a few players find the end zone.
Not the best time to try.
Still, half the team didn't.
Well, I'm still numerically 12 by standings, not by power rankings.
Yes. 9. I got Jasmus. Jasmus only put up 83 points.
50% of his points coming from Fields and Edwards.
Gus has 9 touchdowns in the past 5 weeks.
Some would say that's good.
He's Jamal Williams or David Montgomery, whoever you want. He just keeps scoring touchdowns. It's insane. Eckler had a run where he looked like that video of David Johnson moving through sand. So I think Eckler might be starting to see that other side of the hill and going down it. Amari didn't do great with no Watson, and A-Chain got hurt on 2 touches. So maybe he's nasty, but he is still 180 pounds and 2 injuries so far in his...
Yep.
Or 2. I don't remember if he got hurt preseason, but has been banged up a little bit. And then Cooper Kupp also got hurt. So it's like a low ankle sprain. But
yeah,
he did miss practice today. We'll see if he plays. Same thing with Chan. He's playing on Friday, so a little bit less time. We will see.
We shall.
8, I have myself. Put up a cool 91.
Could have been mine.
DJ Moore, his last 3 games with Justin Fields, he's put up 22, 49, and 27. So I'm pretty happy about that, as long as they have a QB that's competent enough playing like that. And Jalen Warren, starting now. They did fire Matt Canada too after this game, but 100 yards on the ground on only 9 carries plus a touchdown. Still getting work in the receiving game. Looks very good. Again, I've said this before, kind of looks like that Pollard and Zeke connection from last year, with Najee being the Zeke and him being the Pollard role. Obviously not like RB1 level, but pretty efficient. Tommy Tremble found the end zone for me.
Yeah, we had a good chuckle about that, and then he actually did a thing.
Yeah, it's good. And then the rest of the team, not much. Not much at all.
Yeah, you could have, A, not traded Saquon and gotten 30 extra points. Or if you still want to trade Saquon to get your value for him, you could have, traded for fucking Singletary.
Yeah, I could have. I'm still sitting in the playoffs right now,
Next
somehow.
Next team.
Next team is Evan, coming in at 7. Put up 119. Gibbs played really well. Herbert played well. Henderson played well, but then got cut. I mean, I guess he had 6 carries for 1 yard. Not the best, but good in the receiving game. Devonta Smith, again, we kind of talked about this with Dallas hurt. Going to be getting a little bit more use. Musgrave is in the hospital because his kidney, exploded. Lacerated a kidney. So he's going on IR. The team did fine. Again, they've had injuries. But they're still fighting.
They're fighting out there.
They're still fighting.
Adam, do I have to remind you what this is? Use your standing count.
Okay, number 6, we have Steve. Steve put up 108, led by Saquon's 30. Tommy DeVito was slinging that thing to him. The rest of his team just did okay. Ford found the end zone. McBride did okay. Kirk, not his best game. Terry, not his best game. Debo, not his best game. James Conner, okay. It's, again, wasn't super impressive all around, but still has some guys on the bench that he could sub in. It's going to come down to, again, setting the right lineup, and then I assume some of these guys are going to have better games, and he looks decent right now. He's on I think a little 3-game win streak. Yeah, 3-game win streak. 5, we got Cherry, who put up 127 points, and that was with Kenneth Walker putting up 2, getting hurt. Sutton, since I've traded him, I think I scored a touchdown in every game. So, love to see that. He's got 8 on the year. Put up 2 in the past 2 seasons combined when I had him. Players love going off once I trade him away.
I guess so. Maybe you should stop trading guys. Or trade them to me.
But then they won't go off.
Trade them to me. Because you traded me Dante Pettis, who didn't play a snap after you traded him.
And DJ Chark, who also didn't play.
He didn't play for 3 weeks, and then came back for 3 weeks, got a touchdown in each game, and then got hurt again. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, that was interesting. But Calvin Ridley had a huge game, 2 touchdowns. Marquise Brown, a little disappointing, only 3, but... And then Jameson Williams found the end zone, too. Just pretty good all-around week. Had a few duds, but very solid showing. Now, 4, we got Ethan. Ethan put up 123. Not Etienne's best week, not Javante's best week, combining for about 15. Chase basically only had a garbage time touchdown. Wasn't great, and now with Burrow hurt, kind of see what we expect from kind of like a Garrett Wilson this year, where it's because he's still good enough to have a good week, but the QB play is probably not going to be there to fully sustain him. Diggs, not his best week. Keenan Allen, though, has been ridiculous. Kelsey found the end zone. And then Derrick Henry. I saw something that Derrick Henry, he averages 20 or 19 points a game when their team wins, and it drops to 12 or something when the team loses, and they are 3-8 this year or something.
So not ideal.
So on the bad team, him getting older, it's going to be, I think, a little bit tougher to see some of those blow-up weeks. Still, obviously, a good player, but not the best. Could, again, kind of see that end of the hill. And Jahan Dotson found the end zone, but, again, not super productive. 3, we have Trevor. Trevor put up 124. Josh Jacobs only had 6. Deontay Johnson only 3, and A.J. Brown only had 1 catch for 8 yards. But Puka had a pretty big game again, 18 points, DK with 20, and Tyreek with 30. Tyreek's, again, nasty. So So, very, very good team. Did this again, too, with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman on the bye. And he's getting Kyron back this week, who was very solid before he got hurt. And we'll see what he is now coming back into this role.
Yeah, Trevor's got some big games coming up. He needs to hope for a couple Griff losses to hang the 6th? 7th?
No.
7th banner?
No, he's only won the division 3 times. 4th banner.
Thought he had... Didn't we hang banners for runner-ups?
He does have 3 runner-ups, so I guess it would be a 7th banner. 3 division champs, 3 runner-ups.
Trevor, call into the show later and tell us how many banners you have. We want to make sure we get the number right. We don't want to
he
report
might have
false
some other.
information.
He might have some other banners.
He might. We gotta figure it out.
Number 2, we got Zach. Zach
It's good.
has been nasty 2 weeks in a row. The team looks solid. Did lose Burrow, so he's gonna have to go to Goff. I guess not the worst downgrade. Aaron Jones also hurt, but wasn't even playing him. Montgomery found the end zone. Kittle found the end zone. Evans found the end zone. Adams found the end zone. Ceedee found the end zone. Mixon found the end zone. McCaffrey found the end zone. When basically your entire starting lineup is finding the end zone,
It's a good week.
it's a good week.
Yeah.
And I
Very
kinda
nearly
see-
the best week.
Very nearly. The only thing again with Mixon, I could see a little bit of concern with what's the Bengals offense going to look like with Brown.
Our defense against him is going to stack the box.
Yeah, so maybe could see a little bit of a decline there, but he's got a ton of talent. Very good team. And number 1, Griff. Griff continues to win.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is good. Swift found the end zone. Really good week. Amon-Ra, Ayuk, nasty. Tank Dell, is he the new... If we redrafted the class right now, is he wide receiver 1?
I could see the argument for
It's
it.
probably top 3 at least.
Yeah, at the minimum.
Him, Puka, and Addison. I think those are clearly the 3 best.
Yeah.
But, just ridiculous. Did lose Mark Andrews. I think that's the big thing here. But does have, Logan Thomas and Jake Ferguson to fill in. Not good options, but not the worst. And again, he still put up 162 points with Mark Andrews putting up 4. So if he gets 4 from the tight end again with one of those guys, could still put up huge weeks. And then Tony Pollard found the end zone.
Yeah.
So that was
Another guy. A lot of his guys found the end zone, and he had the best week.
he did have the best week, and he's very good. Now we'll talk some playoffs a little bit.
How am I doing?
Eliminated. We'll go to my division first.
Let's go.
James and Matt are eliminated with a loss, or if me or Jasmine win.
Well, good thing that Matt's going to win this week.
They both, but if me or Jasmine win, they're also out. So they're still a very outside shot, and basically involves them winning out and us kind of losing out. So gonna be tough for them. Me and Jasmine both still tied in the record. 3 games left. One's gonna be against each other. If either of us pull out a win this week, it helps the program. Steve, he clinches the playoffs with a win. And me and Jasmine lose.
So both have to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if he just wins and we win, there's... Wait. This should have been an or.
Okay.
If me and Jasmine both lose, we are out. Or if Steve wins, or he's in, or if Steve wins, he's in. And then Ethan clinches by with a win, or if Steve loses.
All right.
Going to your division. Cherry and Evan, they're both eliminated with a loss, or if Trevor and Zach win. Again, it's kind of the same with James and Matt. It's so crazy. These divisions. Like, yeah, James and Matt have as good of a chance to make the playoffs as Cherry or Evan.
Sickening.
It is. But it's kind of the same situation there. Zach clinches playoffs with a win. Trevor clinches playoffs with a win. And Griff clinches by with a win versus Zach. And Trevor also loses. So,
Would you look at that?
pretty interesting stuff. And then obviously looking at the first round pick race, or the first overall pick, you versus Matt's the big game this week.
This might be matchup of the week.
Well, I don't know. I might go with Griff Zach.
No. No. Who cares about the playoffs when Marvin's on the line?
Probably all the people in the playoffs.
I didn't fucking ask them.
But, yeah, whoever loses out of you two will probably be in the driver's seat for pick 1. Whoever wins will probably fall to pick 3. And then James also, with a loss, will probably be at 2, unless he puts up like 40 and both of you guys put up like 140. Then he'll slide into that 1. A lot of must-lose games and must put up a little amount of points for you.
Well, good thing I
James
don't have
and
Devin
Matt,
Singletary to come wrecking ball my season.
But not really Matt and James because they don't have their picks, so that's more Cherry and Evan rooting for that.
Yeah, it's me, James, and Matt, but Matt and James are represented by Cherry and Evan.
Yeah, so they're probably wanting to win because why lose when you got nothing to gain?
Why would you be fine with a loss in week 11 when you don't have your own pick? Riddle me that.
And yep, that's how things are looking now. Playoffs could almost kind of be settled, not after this week, but your division could kind of be settled after this week. My division could be coming down to just me and Jasmus over these last 2 weeks, but I think it is funny because everybody kind of has something they're looking forward to, besides Matt and James, I guess.
They're just here for the ride.
Yeah, they probably don't want to come in last because why do you want to come in last? But then
why do you want to be the guy that traded the pick that was Marvin Harrison?
Yeah, then you have Evan and Cherry who are probably out of the playoffs, but they have rooting interest there. Then we have me and Jasmine's fighting for the playoffs, and then obviously all the other teams that are basically already in the playoffs, so fighting for buys and whatnot. So everybody does have rooting interest over these last few weeks.
And then, well, before we get to those weeks, let's talk about this one in matchup previews. Welcome back to matchup previews, week 12. Before we get into that, Adam, how did we do last week?
Last week, Steve got his 10th win overall. Good for Steve. And Griff did stay undefeated versus Ethan, but he could not keep up the streak of scoring more than he did in the previous game. His last game against him, he put up 166. This time only 161. Came up like 5 points short.
If only Mark Andrews didn't get hurt.
If only. And then for us picks-wise, I went 2-1, getting Trevor and Steve right, getting 7.5 points to get to up to 98.3. You went 1-2, only picking up 5.4, going to 76 points.
Yeah. Almost like that there was a team that probably should have won and didn't, that I picked.
No one knows who he's talking about.
Couldn't tell you. I forgot. It slipped my mind.
All right. Well, who are you gonna pick here?
I'm starting to realize that when I pick my own matchups, I kind of curse whoever I pick.
But now it's a self-aware curse.
I'm going to play it slightly safe. Cat. I'm picking the cat. How many points is the cat worth?
Oh. Let's get a show.
Well, let's go.
Nope, not interested in the show. All right, who are you picking?
Okay. I'll go with the safe option, and we're going to go with Griffin to beat Zach for 5.1. Griffin might get Jefferson back this week.
May. But I have heard that they also might keep him out because of... like they have the bye the week after, so they might keep him out just to like give him that extra 2 weeks to heal.
Yeah,
but
even as of right now, he doesn't have Swift in the lineup. So you just move Tank down a wide receiver, put Swift in.
Yeah, or Tony Pollard,
or Chris Godwin.
His team's so good.
Dude, what the fuck? I go to my bench, and I'm like, this guy can maybe get 2 points.
His bench is starting on both of our teams.
Yeah. The cat is tacoing. Yeah, I'm gonna take Griff.
This is only their 6th meeting, so again, 6 meetings in 6 years. Griff has won the first 3, but Zach has won the last 2. Here comes
the other one. Is that Rocky?
They've been on streaks. We'll see if Zach could tie it up.
It's going to be an awkward Thanksgiving dinner. It's going to be an awkward Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Playing each other.
Beef at the table. How many players did they got going on Thursday? Zach has 1, 2, 3, 4. Griff has also 3. So we might see a nice fight at Thanksgiving. I might, if they're here, unsure, but I might hear it. I might hear some.
There might be a commotion.
I might hear a brawl out there. But yeah, I think this will be a really close matchup. Zach's just been so good, but Griff's also so good. So again, could go either way. This may be will possibly be a playoff preview. Could definitely see these two teams matching up in either the second round or the finals even. It'll be interesting.
The cats are now fighting.
Who will I pick? I'm going to go with... I've got the lead, so I'm just going to play it safe, and I'm going to take Ethan to beat Evan.
I disagree.
For 3.6 points.
I disagree.
You think about it, Jerry Jeudy versus Cleveland, don't love. Waddle versus the Jets, probably not the best matchup. Herbert versus Baltimore, little iffy. I do like Gibbs versus Green Bay. If Noah Brown plays, I think he could have a good week. Did just add Devin Singletary, who's on pace for 100 yards a game. So, could be good there for Evan. But you go to Ethan's side. I do like Diggs versus Philly. I think could be a big week there. ETN versus Houston. And Derrick Henry versus Carolina I all like. It'll be interesting to see kind of how Chase works out here.
Oh, the cat has come to give us a show.
And I think Trevor Lawrence could have a pretty big week here against Houston. And then Keenan Allen's just been so ridiculous. And that kind of limits Herbert's potential because Keenan's kind of been the main option there. And then if we look at their history, Evan is 3-1 versus Ethan, so Evan does have the history there, but I think Ethan pulls this one out.
This is an Anteaters stand account, so hello.
I went with Evan last week, couldn't pull off the upset, so I had to go against him this week. Who are you going with?
I'm going. Can I take the other cat?
No.
Damn it. I'm going to make a call here. I'm taking you over Cherry this week. Because I'm not the biggest fan of Bijan versus New Orleans, or Tua versus the Jets, or Sutton versus Cleveland, even though he's probably due to drop 90 because you traded him. And I do like Stevenson versus the Giants.
That game might score 6 total points.
But that's a touchdown with the missed PAT for Ramondre.
It's like more 2 field goals tie.
Throw the safety in there somewhere, too.
3 safeties.
3 safeties. For each team. And I think Dak's going to cook against Washington Thanksgiving evening while we're eating our supper.
Yeah, I do think Dak will have a big week. And I think DJ Moore and Addison could both have good weeks going up against each other on Monday night. Could give me a good comeback.
We got both cats.
And then, yeah, I like my matchups, but then you also kind of look. Wandale, don't know how well he'll do. Kyle Phillips, Quentin Johnston. Again, I think it'll be a pretty close matchup. I think I've got good potential to win, but I think this could kind of go either way. And then we are 3-3 all time, so we'll see who gets ahead.
Gets the advantage. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna go with
Do it.
I'm gonna take Trevor to beat Steve.
Plays it safe coming down to the end of the season.
Just gotta protect my lead.
Sorry for the shaky cam right now. The cat has decided to clean himself right behind the camera. Is that right, Rocky? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I just need to coast out. I'm up like 20 on you. I'll just take my 7 points this week and get out of there. Trevor versus Steve. Trevor's 1-0 all time, and Trevor's got a really good team. Doesn't have the best matchups all around, but again, A.J. Brown, Puka, especially if Cup misses. Hawkinson's been ridiculous. Tyreek Hill, even though it's against the Jets. They could all just win the week. And then you look at Steve's side, it's like, again, I think he puts up a good performance. I just don't know if it's good enough. I could see Trevor putting up 140 to Steve's 120 and still pulling out the win, even though Steve has a respectable week.
Yeah. I was looking at the matchup and then I just completely blanked for a second, so I apologize. But yeah, I do think that Trevor is going to take this one. Might not be particularly close, especially depending which quarterback Steve plays. Because I feel like one of them does pretty good,
yeah,
and
Steve
the other two
has
stink.
Always been picking the wrong QB. We'll see if he gets it right this week.
With Jordan Love versus Detroit. Then,
I feel like Steve's always chasing, like, man, this guy did good last week. And then goes with them, and they're not good this week. Then he picks the guy that was good last week. Or then he's then held out 3 weeks with the same guy. Like, he's got to bounce back, and then just didn't. Just every turn, Steve's went wrong at starting the QB.
So for my next matchup, I'm going to pick what I don't want to happen, so that at least I get a small reward if it does. I'm taking the War Eagles for 5.3. And the reason is, I just explained it. Hall versus Miami, that's a kind of a tough one. Gainwell is in the lineup. Don't need to say much there. The only issues is that my 3 receivers are playing some pretty bad defenses.
Yeah.
Davis, Watson, and Flowers all in the green, along with Cole Kmet also playing the Vikings, who are not the best defensively. And then this game is going to be, do Jonathan Mingo and Rondale Moore get enough to outlast Raheed Shaheed Rashid Shaheed and Zach Cabinet.
Yeah, I think this will be tough. I don't love James Cook against the Eagles. I don't love Brian Robinson against Dallas. Again, I don't love Garrett Wilson with Tim Boyle at QB. Don't love JSN versus the 49ers. I think he's got the better players, but I don't know if he has the better matchups. And then I think Hurts is going to outdo Dobbs. So I could see you winning this very, very sadly for you. But I think this will be a close matchup. And I think if we see someone get 2 touchdowns or just have a bad week or have a good week, that could be the difference. We look all time. You are 5-1 and you have won 4 straight versus Matt. Will you keep up the win streak?
No.
Hopefully not for your sake.
Do it.
Will you have a Jets end of the year?
Most likely.
Will you be the Giants versus Washington? Tommy DeVito leading this team out of Caleb Williams? Or will you just actually die?
Can I just lay down and die? Do I have to start Hurts? What do I think Gardner's the better play?
You don't.
But what if I do?
You don't. Okay. And then we got the last matchup, Jasmus.
Do it.
Versus James.
Do it. Do it.
I'll take James.
Yeah!
I'll play it safe with my 2 first picks, and then I'll go crazy. James for 6.9. Main reason I'm saying this, what if Achan and what if Cup don't play? Zay Jones questionable again. What if he doesn't play? Then we got the Jasmus receiver core of Amari with no QB versus Denver. Nick Westbrook-Akine versus Carolina. And dead Julio Jones or Justin Watson goes to the flex, has to play Najee again, who's kind of, again, losing that role. I don't know. It could spark disaster. Again, I do think, Pacheco will still have a good week going up against the Raiders. Not the best run defense I've ever seen. I also think Fields could have a really big week. And Gus will probably score 4 touchdowns at least. James's running backs will probably combine for 3 points.
Yep.
But maybe Mahomes gets it going. Okay, cats.
The cat just ran into
the... Is Odell back?
Your cat might have a concussion.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. Is Odell back? Is Pickens without Matt Canada going to get used? Again, we talked about the Cowboys versus Washington. They'll probably light it up. Will Cooks get involved? And then, who knows? Again, I don't really think Jasmus will win. But just the...
You mean James?
Oh, yeah, James. I don't really think James will win, especially if Jasmus is healthy, but I'm thinking, hey, maybe he's not, and I could get a little value on these points. No, Shadow, what are you doing?
Just grabbed insulation.
Why are you doing that? The all-time Jasmus is 5-3. Stop. Why are you doing that? You idiot. But yeah, I guess I'll just take the value. Jasmus 5-3 and just won the previous 4. Think he likely does, but again, I think there is a shot for an upset where I could really put this competition to bed.
And that does it for matchup previews. We're going to have a little bonus segment about something that almost happened this week. So we're going to get the cat to stop eating insulation, and we'll be right back. So we are back with a little bonus segment. Adam, what are we going to do?
Ooh, bonus.
Is this another Adam Rambles?
I probably will, or at least a little bit. But let's talk about the whole. It had the whole league talking.
Yeah.
The you and Trevor possible trade on Monday night. How close was it to happening?
It was closer than a lot of people think. So, obviously the scenario was I want Marvin Harrison. I was up 1 to James. We both just had Mahomes versus Hurts. So Trevor had actually offered to...
Yeah, so Trevor came to you with this, right?
Trevor came to me, and he sent me an offer. I'm not going to disclose what the offer was, just to, keep it fair. But
Something along the lines of Stroud for Hurts.
Stroud and Hurts were both involved in the deal. So the advantage being Trevor gets a slight upgraded quarterback from Lamar Jackson. I get a younger guy that can kind of cook with my younger team, who's been doing really well. And also I get the loss, so that would give James 3 wins. And meaning for charity at the number 1 pick, I would have to win out and James would have to lose out, or something along the lines of that.
Yeah, something along the lines.
Something.
It would put you in the driving seat for Marv. And yeah, you'd still be at 1, Matt would be at 2, and Trevor would, or Cherry owning James's pick would have 3 losses.
Yes. 3 wins.
3 wins, yeah.
But that did not happen, and I kind of... Part of me is like, do I want to trade Hurts? I understand that Marvin Harrison might be one of the best wide receiver prospects since Calvin Johnson. But Hurts is also not, like, old by any means. I think he's 25, 26. He's 25.
Yeah, QB2 on the year.
Yeah, like the third overall play or something like that.
Yeah, 4th, I think.
Yeah, 4 overall.
Like, really good asset fantasy-wise. Stroud has looked good this year, but probably will never have the rushing upside that Hurts does.
The tush push.
And then, yeah, but then there was a lot of commotion about it.
There was, obviously, Cherry and Evan, they would, kind of be like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think James and Steve were also
plotting against it.
Steve was, but I don't know, there was some, I don't know, it's kind of like heavily debated.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Take in mind, all this is happening, and for, like, probably, like, 80% of this conversation, I'm, like, driving. I had, like, to coach a practice, then I had to go pick up dinner. So, like, half the time, it was, like, I get to, like, where I'm going, and I'm like, oh, that's a conversation. I'll say, like, one thing, and I'll text Adam, like, man, I'm so confused. And then I'll, like, go do something. I'll come back, read what was said.
Yeah,
I'm
at
text
work.
Adam, whatever I do is going to be the wrong move.
Yeah, in between clients, it's like, man, I got an hour. And then come back, and then it's like 5 minutes to look at my phone, and it's like, okay, let's see what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
And then nothing for an hour again, see what happens. So the people were saying, like, is it collusion? Is it whatever?
Dickhead.
Like, should this not be allowed or allowed? I don't know. I think there's, like, a difference, and how am I going to say this? I think it would have been fine.
Okay.
For you to do the trade with, like, okay, it's Monday night, I want to lose, and this. Because I get then, well, I get, like, if you're Cherry or Evan in that situation, obviously it's, like, sucks. But I think it's fine. Because it's Monday and you're adapting to the situation that is unfolded. I think if you were to do it this week, kind of like how Trevor talked about, like, I'm going to offer you this trade at 110, like, and then you can accept it then. I think planning that going into like Sunday, I don't think that would be fair.
Yeah.
I also think, like, okay, this is because it's like tanking, but I'm also kind of surprised we haven't seen this from anybody else. Like, Griff versus Zach this Monday. Say Zach really wants the win to try to get the bye and force Griff to lose, or Trevor has like basically sealed up his matchup for Steve. He wants to try to get the bye, so he wants Griff to win. Would it be like, would we be calling it like collusion or tanking if then Griff, or if Trevor traded for Griff's guy on Monday night and like overpaid so that he'd lose, so then he'd move up in the standings? Like, I think that's also like fine strategy. Like, you're trying to make the team you're playing worse for, or like you're trying to find an advantage here on Monday night to get this guy so then you could move up in the standings and make the playoffs. It's like, yeah, that's, no one's pick is like getting worse because of it. It's just you trying to better yourself, your playoff position. Same thing with like say if Evan won and Zach's losing, and then he trades for Zach's guy to like make him lose so he has a better shot to get into the playoffs. Like, again, that's just kind of fighting for playoff division. Again, you'd probably have to overpay. Like, Griff's trying to be competitive and win. I don't think he's just going to give away a win and possibly the bye. So then it's like, oh, yeah, maybe it's Jake Ferguson. And granted, they're playing on Thursday, but like, you're trading for Jake Ferguson on a Monday night, and now you have to make this really bad trade to get you the win of giving him like 3 seconds for Jake Ferguson, who probably barely costs 1, like something like that.
Yeah.
So you had a crazy overpay, or like, I don't know again what the deal was, but maybe for you to trade away Hurts for Stroud, like, again, it could have been you had to like underpay just to lose, and now you lost value trading away, again, QB2 and not getting as much back as you wanted to try to get this loss. And then it also could have then opened up the door for, obviously James doesn't have his pick, so why would James like care about winning? But then maybe Cherry goes to James and is like, he just did this trade, I'm going to try to get Mahomes. So it's like, no, you traded away Hurts, but you're still up 1, and now Cherry trades 2 firsts next year for Mahomes, like overpays for Mahomes, so then he guarantees the loss, and now you both don't have a QB, and it's like, he just countered your move, where it's like, no, you're like, dang, I just did this, but Cherry then made James lose to get the worst pick or whatever. Like, I think that's just kind of good strategy. Again, I don't think like taking advantage of something like that and doing it again, planning it a week in advance of like, this Sunday I'm going to trade for your QB so you don't have a QB to play at 1. Like, I don't think that's the same as, oh, it's Monday night and we just had all of this happen and I'm going to try to make a move with like the new kind of circumstances we have. That's kind of my take on it. But I also, if I was on the other end, I'd be very upset of like, yeah, you made a smart move, but also screw you. But then if James did have his own pick, he could have sold Mahomes, like, done the same thing to whatever, get out of like the win, and then but now maybe you're selling Mahomes for cheap. It's like, well, anybody take Mahomes, and now everybody knows you're kind of desperate, so it's a good time to buy Mahomes. And now it's like, shoot, you sold Mahomes for just 2 seconds, when it's like you probably could have got a first and it's like whatever Mahomes' value is. He had to sell him short just to make sure to get this loss, and then it kind of gets to the point, is it even worth it? Like, was it worth it giving up your best like player, your QB that's been dominant, just to move up in the draft order? So I think that's kind of the like debate that's going on. Again, if the whole league is like, no, that's collusion, it doesn't count, then obviously we'll probably talk about it again in the off season, try to like make a rule about it or whatever. But
I
something official.
I can safely say that as much as I appreciate the offer for this week, Trevor, I will not be trading Hurts on Sunday.
But you could also like trade Hurts now and like still make your like
I won't be doing it
yeah.
like the Sunday.
And it was also like so close. Like you were again very close to just.
I was up by 1 point at the time, so I was even like, let's just see if
Mahomes can outscore. Yeah, like
Mahomes can outscore Hurts by 2 points, which first half was looking great.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Again, like this is different.
Here comes Dingus again.
This is different, but it's also the whatever. Shadow. It's an idiot. It's different, but it's also kind of the same. You're a bad team. You two are playing each other this week. It comes down to Monday night. You're up 1 point, and you have one person left on Monday night, so you're going to win or something.
Yeah.
Would we call it tanking if you took out your flex to win the game by only one? Where it's like you still win, and this actually like guarantees your win because your kite can't get negative, but it holds your points down. Like if we look back, I think James did it week 7 against Matt. He was up 1.1 points.
Pulled Cooks, which no one said was tanking then, because it's like, I don't want him to get negative to lose, which is fair strategy, I guess. But now it's also how many did he score this week? Scored 15 points. So now it's like, what if the number one pick is decided by 10 points? And it's like, well, you should have probably had that 15 because whatever. Like, again, I don't really think that was tanking at the time. I think it's, I don't want my guy to fumble and me lose this game. Yeah.
But it's like, again, there's weird scenarios like that where if you're always taking advantage of it, it becomes bad. But I think just doing it in like the thought process of it, like I don't think James back then was like, let me get my points lower. He's like, I probably just want to win. Again, like he doesn't have his pick, so there's no point. But then you look back at it and it's like, wow, this kind of screwed me because of this. I don't know. I think it's kind of tough to say and probably pretty open to the league to decide. Again, I just don't think like the taking advantage of it is the bad part. I think it's just kind of like a strategy. And again, they could have made the trade the other way to do this. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's a unique situation here where you both had someone going and it was a close matchup. Again, maybe also if it was just like one person, maybe it's different. I don't like if only you have someone. I don't really know. I guess we'll probably have the league kind of vote on it at the end of the year and kind of see what everybody thinks when we're talking about rule changes and stuff. But I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was smart, like,
yeah,
by you and Trevor trying to keep it out of
Cherry's hands,
who has the better team than you.
Like I said, I told you earlier, I was in the parking lot of a Five Guys at 8:14 with my thumb on the accept button, and then I just went, you know what? No. I do like Hurts. I have a lot of stock in Hurts in a lot of different leagues.
Yeah.
And, you know, it also depends, like, what is Stroud's ceiling. Like, yeah, we've seen him put up 40. Also had weeks where he's put up, like, 9. So.
I also, like, very clear, if this was, like, a rental trade, those aren't allowed. So, like, it would have had to stick with it. Like, get this player.
Or I trade something different for Hurts later down the road.
Yeah, if it was, like, a year later, you can trade for a person again. We've seen that. But if it was just, like, we had
a trade that was 2 minutes apart.
That was in the offseason, though. But
never forget the Zach and Trevor. Was it Doug Baldwin?
Doug Baldwin and like Robbie Anderson trade or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, I don't think like if you did that and then the second the season ended, you basically did the same exact trade back, I'd be like, okay, you basically just rented him for the off season, but then if it's week 12 next year and you do a whole different trade for it, like that's fine. but we can't rent people. We have that as like a rule already, so that wouldn't be allowed. It would have to be a trade that you're happy living with.
Yeah.
And then I also think this could... I know a lot of leagues don't have trade deadlines and stuff. We pushed ours back to
Week 13.
13, yeah, right before the last week of the regular season. But I know some leagues don't have trade deadlines, and then it goes into like the playoffs, and then it's like, okay, now Ethan's there, and his Jamar Chase got hurt. It's like, is he going to go now overpay for a receiver just to help him this week, or like whatever? And it's like, that's not like illegal to do. Like, you're just making a trade, and then you're probably having to overpay or underpay, which you probably would in these situations anyway, of you might not have been getting fair value for Hurts, but it's also like technically you're moving from pick 2 to pick 1 because of it. So it's like you have to add that in. And then if James wanted to do it, it's like you got to sell Mahomes cheap just to make sure you keep that. Like, or if Cherry's trying to get it, it's like you got to give a little bit more. Like, so the buyer and seller have like an advantage there of value. So it's like, yeah, you actually made a horrible trade, but it got you to keep this pick. Like something along the lines of that.
Yeah, I think like what was going to happen definitely walked the line a little bit, but like you said, I think it would have been seen as smart. Also opens the door now, maybe this week, all of a sudden, Evan's like, hey, Matt, I'll give you a second for Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
Heading into Monday.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a thing that happens. Or, like, would we call that legal, or would we call that bad, or whatever? I don't know. Again, I think we should probably have some sort of vote or say on this. Same thing where you have Komet on Monday.
Yeah.
Trade Komet, like, I don't want it to be a thing where, like, you just put someone in your lineup because they're playing on Monday just so you could trade them away and, like, make your team worse. But I don't know. I think we'll have to have some sort of vote on it and what the ruling will be, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah, but I think that's going to wrap up this week's. From all of us here at Sock Talk, all 2 of us.
And the cats.
And the cats, we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. That's
already passed.
Already passed. Definitely not getting it out tonight. But we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week. Hopefully Adam's cat hasn't died from insulation consumption.
True.
But, yeah.